All right, hey guys, it's Bobby Harris. Welcome back to part 2 of the build of my forever gun. Okay, you may have seen part 1. It just kind of brought you into the introduction of kind of where we're at. And, like I said, in part 1, we're kind of halfway through the build, and it's really a process that doesn't really take too long, but I'm trying to put a lot of thought and effort into what I want to do here and how I want to build this gun and what I'm going to wind up with as my gun that I intend to take on into my golden years hunting, let's say. So today what we're going to do is, at least in this part, we're going to reassemble the bolt. I had everything, as I showed you in the previous video, everything's been Cerakoted and ready to go. And so I'm going to go through the process of just reassembling the bolt real quick. So as you can see here, I've got all the bolt accessories laid out here, and I'm going to do my best using my phone here to try to go through the process of reassembly and kind of allow you to watch what's going on here. I've got a couple of fixtures that I use just for kind of the reassembly process that help with the tear down and reassembly of a Remington Model 700 bolt. So, but anyway, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this Teflon grease that I have, and I'm going to lube up my spring and some of the other things. One of the processes you have to go through whenever you do Cerakote is you have to have all of your parts 100% oil and grease free. So naturally, during reassembly, I take that time then to kind of re-lube everything and go through that process of cleaning it all up and getting it back the way I want it. And I like to put a little bit of grease, on my spring, and I just kind of put it between my fingers and run it up and down the spring, the best I can to lubricate that spring. I don't know if it really makes a huge difference or not, but nonetheless, it's a moving component inside your gun, and at least it's going to help lubricate it from any type of future rusting if you happen to be out in the weather and you can't get to the point where you can tear your gun down. Not many people take their bolt apart, and I can remember for years hunting without taking a bolt apart, and so it winds up could cause problems, but that moves on your firing pin. So it's just something I try to do. I actually put a little bit of grease on my fingers and just kind of rub it on the firing pin as well, just to make sure that, it's lubed up. Like I said, I'm not sure that it's going to be that critical, but why not have a little bit of lubrication on there anyway, So we're going to go ahead and reassemble this. And this block, of course, this actually works for a Ruger or a Remington, but I go ahead and just primarily use it on my Remingtons. But what I'm going to try to do is compress this spring so that I can get the end back on it that covers the firing pin. So I'm going to put my bolt shroud on it. I showed you that from the last video. We had some machine work done to the bolt shroud, and so they faceted the bolt shroud on this instead of leaving it round. They kind of cut it. I did a lot of things for cosmetic, but I'm thinking, okay, is it going to help with the functionality of the gun? Absolutely not, But in the process of doing all this, I'm trying to, like I said, build the gun I want and the gun that's going to go with me over the next 20, 30 years, So I'm going to compress the spring by cranking everything like this. And as you can see, it's going up inside here, pushing the firing pin out the back of the shroud. And as you can see, it's starting to come up the shroud there just a little bit. So I'm going to continue to do that. Try not to make this video too long. And as you can see, it's starting to come out the back. And we're going to turn it until we can see these holes line up here where we can actually get them squared up and lined up with the holes in this particular part here. It covers the firing pin. Now what I like to do is take my punch and put it through here and turn this to where it squares up with everything. That way it all lines up whenever I put this on. Once again, I'll put a little bit of lubrication on this as well. Like I said, probably not that big a deal, but I'll put it on there just because I think in my mind, it's only helping. So as I slide this on, that looks pretty good. I'm pretty much lined up. I don't know if we can get a visual through that or not, but I can get my punch through it. So I pretty much got it lined up here. So that's how I know when everything's positioned correctly. So I'll go ahead and put my pin back in, and I've got it here in my hand. There's already a little bit of lubrication in the hole, so I'll just set it here. And I use this little wooden block in my little ball peen. And I've got it almost through. You've got to get it flush on both sides, so that's what I'm working on. I'm trying to do all this without hitting my bolt shroud, so I may take my punch here and give it a whack. Okay, that's flush on this side and flush. I may hit it one more time. It's fairly snug. Okay, it moved a lot. I hit it a little too hard. So now it came out the other side. So we're going to do this over here. I'll be a little more gentle. And that's probably got it. We'll relieve the pressure on this, and it should come right back into a locking position here. Now, basically what it did is it stopped against the edge of this. So here's where this tool comes in, okay? We're going to grab these teeth with that tool by slipping it over and grabbing. So let me do that again so you can see what I'm doing here. This part of the tool here, this catch, is on a lever that I have back here. And we're going to grab this component of the firing pin and pull it backwards. So we're going to grab it like so. I've got the tool like this, and I'm going to twist it downward, and it pulls the firing pin back farther. Then we can unscrew it from here as I hold it. You can kind of lock it in place. I'm just going to hold it with my hand and unscrew it, and then I'll start screwing it into the body of the bolt itself. And then we pull it out of there. I've already put a little bit of lubrication on the end of the pin. I might just put a little bit more. Doesn't take much. I just got a very small dab on there, but this is just to lubricate the pin coming through the end of the bolt here. And we've got our bolt that's been Cerakoted. It's been fluted. It's got all this pretty work done to it. We're going to put it in here like so and start screwing it back together. When it gets to this point, you're basically bottomed out and you've gone too far. This actually needs to lock up right here. So we're going to let the pressure off at this point. And now we have the firing pin set. You can see it actually protruding right there. And what will happen is as we put it back in the gun, we can actually move it just a little bit to get it back in the gun properly, let's say. So I will twist it slightly like so. By the way, there's a small indention. You can see it right here, but there's a small indention here, right there. You can see it. And what happens is when you push that into it, it locks. Now that is in the cocked position. That's the way it should come out of the gun. So as you can see, it's cocked, firing pin's not sticking out. And so everything should be good to go at that point. So let's fit it into our barrel here, our action. Once again, this has been Cerakoted as well. No trigger in it right now, but I'm getting ready to do that as well. So anyway, we'll go ahead and fit it in here, close it, and voila. We've got the bolt back together. So anyway, just walking you guys through some of the parts of this build, and I hope you guys enjoyed that section. But nonetheless, we'll go on to putting the trigger in and trying to get some of this other stuff reinstalled and back together. So anyway, that's all you see. God bless, and I hope you have a great day. And like I said in the previous video I did a few minutes ago, enjoy your Memorial Day weekend.